Hi, I'm Sydney, and this presentation is on wildfire risk and mitigation in Santa Barbara County, working with Jin Han Hu and Natalie Diaz-Juarez. We tried to make this presentation accessible following these guidelines, so hopefully they're at least a little bit helpful. Before we get started, I just want to give a quick overview of the fire situation in California as a whole. This is really important because the majority of wildfire fighting resources are shared by the whole state, and it involves a collaboration between multiple organizations, including CAL FIRE, the state government, local and county governments, and then the National Forest Service. The biggest fire in the county so far this summer has been the Lake Fire at 38,664 acres. Was the biggest in the state until the Park Fire started on July 24th, and that is already up to 393,000 acres. So that would spread from Santa Maria to Santa Barbara. Just for reference, the biggest fire in state's written history is the Dixie Fire, which was almost 1 million acres and would not fit on this map.
I will talk about event description and identification. I think this is a climate-related hazard. It's happened on Zaca Lake, Santa Barbara counties. Also, I will talk some history examples. Like, because Santa Barbara has a very high frequency of wildfires. A specific example is the tea fair in 2008. It's caused by a group of college students having bonfire at an old tea house. Because there is no essential information and there is no specific reasons and what causes fire, I can explain in two ways. And the first one is human activities, such as intentionally setting fires and deforestations. This activity changes the nature of vegetation cover of the ground and provide more like flammable materials for the wildfire to burn. I think these climate conditions. Because Santa Barbara has a Mediterranean climate, which means it has long dry summer, and during this time the plant become like more dry and brittle, give wildfires like more fuel to burn. And we can see from these two pictures. And this one is the wildfire happening in spring, and this happening in summer. Like we can see that the wildfire occurs less frequently in the spring than in summer. And second one, I'm talking about geographical risk factors. Like because there is a lot of dense terrestrial in these locations, this vegetation is flammable in the dry summer months and would have serious impact on this fire. Also, like you can see from this picture, the steep mountain makes the rescue maybe more difficult. Like some physical factors can exacerbate like the effect of the disaster, such as heavy rainstorms, like where heavy rains cause large amount of gas and other vegetation to grow, like contributing to these fires. Like the second one is strong wind. This wind can spread flames and embers rapidly over long distance and making the fire hard to control. Also, I think the best place to get weather information and alert is the National Weather Service.
So starting off with social risk factors, the primary individuals affected by wildfire in Santa Barbara would be residents living near the Zaca Lake that occurred in Santa Barbara County. This is one of the examples that I put, which was the Zaca Lake. Many include those who are property owners dealing with damage or that are dealing with damage or loss. According to the Fire State Council in Santa Barbara County, one of the fires that occurred burned almost 4,900 acres and destroyed over 440 homes, 20 apartments, and killed one life. Santa Barbara County has programs to teach many about wildfire preparedness. There are organizations such as CAL FIRE, which is an organization about ongoing emergency responses in California. The community is encouraged to be informed through media updates of CAL FIRE, and even the Santa Barbara County Fire Department provides resources. Speaking of personal experiences, as I also receive these resources, even when I'm at school, they would also come up to me and let me know to be aware of these organizations and ongoing emergency responses. Continuation, as of city planning and taking measures to their effects, city planning has been happening in Santa Barbara. Many of these include limiting construction in high-risk areas, and there are even ongoing efforts to maintain and manage vegetation to reduce fuel for wildfires. As a socioeconomic establishments or industry in the area that may disrupt populations outside the localized area may be the agriculture, which Santa Barbara is known for its farms and vineyards. It can suffer from fire damage and more. One more can be education and healthcare, where both can involve closures. Moreover, disruptions that have a crucial effects impacting economic stability and where the immediate area is. So this can be shutdowns and in need from like healthcare and whatnot. As the immediate short-term and long-term impacts, immediate impacts and short-term impacts. While there is historical data that many has passed away due to wildfire life in Santa Barbara, wildlife fires can result in injuries to not only residents but those who help, which are firefighters. These involve low humidity and high temperatures. Property and infrastructure damage can also be a great deal, as the Lake Fire that recently 2024. This fire destroyed many damaged structures that involve homes, outbuildings, and power lines. And as a short-term impacts, there can be health risks that come with poor air quality that increase respiratory conditions. This can impact specific groups, such as children, those with health conditions, and the elderly. Economic and local businesses that are in relation to agriculture can also face immediate losses. And as a third option, recovery and cleanup, such as restoring water, power, and communication services that can alert many others around the area that, of course, there may be a wildlife fire and that they can seek shelter elsewhere. And long-term impacts. As of long-term impacts, the cost of rebuilding is a main factor. According to Source Fire Safe Council in Santa Barbara, the recorded history of cost was up to 120 million to contain. Therefore, environmental recovery is heavily affected as it can take years to recover. California has a long history of crucial wildfires, with some being the most destructive. So therefore, it's cost a lot of money.
Hi, it's Sydney again, and this is what you should do if you are in a wildfire situation. For individuals and families, it's really important to have a fire preparation plan. You want to think about how communication networks might be down, roads might be blocked. You want to keep your gas tank or full or your car fully charged whenever there's a high fire risk, because you don't want to be trying to evacuate and not have fuel. How and what to evacuate, you are the most important thing. If you can see flames, get out of there immediately. If you can't get your pets in the car and you're wasting time, the best thing you can do is to leave windows open, doors open, and they will flee themselves, and they survive a surprisingly often amount of the time. This is a really good example of a go bag. It's just like camping unexpectedly, so you want to have all the supplies necessary for spending time away for a long time. Having your insurance information will also save you a lot of headache later on, especially if your house burns down. When a fire starts, firefighting agencies are going to figure out where it's spreading and issue evacuation notices. It's 100% contained when it's fully surrounded and is no longer spreading. Local governments probably are going to declare a state of emergency and set up evacuation sites. Gas stations turn off the gas, so just remember that, gas tank full, guys. Utility companies shut down power and gas lines. For the future, Santa Barbara County has done a good job of creating safety plans, but they could educate residents and tourists a lot better on what to do in the case of a fire and how to avoid starting fires in general. Also, removing invasive species that mess with our ecosystem, and also maintaining, keeping the grass around highways short and stuff. The state government needs to maintain an emergency relief fund for those displaced by wildfires and pay firefighters more with pensions. We don't have enough firefighters right now because they're not getting paid enough. But the biggest thing they can do is to listen to Indigenous conservationists, things like controlled burns. This is a really interesting article about the Chumash cultural burn practices here in Santa Barbara County, and how after, I believe, 200 years, they are once again able to practice again. These have shaped the ecosystem of California. It's a really interesting article. I could go on and on about this. I'm very passionate, but I don't want this to get too long. So yeah, please check that out. Here are some resources for further reading I'll put in the description. Thank you.